think that's California.
602. Where's Vicki? And the woman down below, she's in our, she's in one of our classes.
Oh, cool.
I'm surprised Vicki isn't here, but she'll come in later. 5, tell me when, Jimmy.
Vicky Camerlingo from the synagogue. She's there on like Friday nights and Saturday morning. She's really
Yes.
friendly. You've met her.
Oh, she's just,
She's so nice.
she is one of the nicest.
She's super nice.
Tell me when. Now? Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're so glad to see you here for the 4th episode of CBI-TV. Today we have several very special guests, Lisa Lostetter and her daughter Grace. Now, the Lostetters helped us out. They were part of a 5-part series of mother and daughter cooking. We were looking for a long time for someone who would do challah, because it's a difficult one to film. The reason is because challah takes 4 to 5 hours. Am I right, Lisa and Grace?
It's a lot. It's a lot of downtime. A lot of the time you're just kind of waiting for the yeast to rise and do its thing.
So when Lisa said, yes, we'll be more than happy to do the challah, my heart just leapt, because we had actually had someone say, 2 people say they wouldn't do it. So I was excited when she and her daughter offered to do this particular segment. Right now, let me introduce you, for those of you who do not know, this is Lisa.
Hello.
And this is her daughter, Grace. So let's do a little bit of an introduction, and we will go from there. So, Lisa, tell me where you're from. As I said, please speak a little bit louder, because our microphones are not as sensitive as we would hope they were. So tell me where you're from.
So I was born in Chicago, but my family moved to Madison, Connecticut when I was a baby, so I grew up there. And I came to Albuquerque about 17 years ago.
17 years ago, so this is a very different climate than you were used to in Connecticut, because it's cold and it's snowy, but you do have beautiful autumns. So how does it feel to be here where it's very dry, it rains very little? I think we have 2 days of snow, and here you are. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely taken a lot of getting used to, and when I go back to Connecticut, I think, oh gosh, it's so humid here. So yeah, it's different, and it's actually interesting with baking as well. You know, the humidity levels and the altitude can affect the baking, and so I've made some adjustments over time to get used to the dryness and the altitude here.
And Grace, now I found this very, very interesting when I was talking with you, and that is, you were born in Albuquerque, am I correct?
Yes.
But you're not that excited about the weather here, am I correct?
Yeah. Personally, I think, I enjoy more humid weather, and snow and rain.
But you've never lived in Connecticut, have you?
No, but I've visited.
Well, I think that's very interesting that she would have a different mindset, and it sounds like that would be a place where she would like to go. So I thought that was a very interesting thing for someone so young. Grace, how old are you?
I'm 10 years old.
She's 10 years old, and here she already knows that she wants to live on the East Coast and not here in the great Southwest, where all of us love it much more.
And I think, Grace, you would love some, in the meantime, just more snow in Albuquerque.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm going to live, but I just don't enjoy the climate as much here.
As much here. So One of the things that I talked to Grace about was her family and her siblings. She is the youngest of 3. She has her oldest brother.
14.
He's 14, so that's Milo. And then her older sister, Iris. And Iris is 12. So I thought she told me a little story about the bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs. So at the end of the bat mitzvah, there is a big scene when one of the young people has read their Torah or their Haftorah part, and they throw all of the candy around. And what do your siblings like you to do, Grace?
Oh, I've been in a few situations where they've asked me to go up. Oh, wait. What? Oh.
Yes, much better, huh?
Sorry. I've been in a few situations where they've asked me to go up and get candy for all of them, because they don't want to go up and get it. Yeah.
Because older siblings don't want to be caught scrambling on the floor. But Grace is willing to do that, yes. So you have to get 3 times as much candy as any other person, any of the other kids up there. Am I right?
Yes.
So I thought that was a wonderful little story. One of the other things that I thought was fascinating is that you and your mother quite often cook in the kitchen, and you have a very traditional, I would call it traditional lifestyle on Friday nights. So talk to me, what does a Friday night look like for your family?
We light candles and usually have a nice meal on Friday night.
Thank you, Grace.
Yes. Do you want to add?
No, I think that we also, come to services when we can, which is not as much as we would like, but we try to make it special, and when we can, get together with other families as well.
I think that is just a wonderful, wonderful way for a contemporary Jewish family to enjoy themselves and to get together. I really wish there were other families that did something that encourages family relationships and camaraderie around children. I really wish our lifestyle right now was as wonderful and tied to their Judaism as that is. Let me ask, Grace, tell me what you would like to be when you grow up.
Undecided.
Undecided, okay. I think that's a great comment because too many of us make decisions too early. So we will do that. We're going to break away, am I right, Jimmy, to this wonderful video. Let me talk a little bit about the video while Jimmy puts the final pieces to our technical. This was not a video that was started at the beginning where we put the yeast and the sweet, the honey or the sugar all together and waited for it to rise. This was a video where we actually had different batches going at the same time so that it would save that part of the time for us. One of the things that happened is Lisa was very kind and she started a beginning of the loaf. Then we started shooting at the end, if I'm correct. We shot a segment at the end. Then we shot the middle of making the challah. And where did we end up at the very end?
I think we ended up with a lot of challah.
I'll say this, there were 4 or 5 rises of dough in front of us, and everybody was going home with bowls and bowls of challah, so it was really quite interesting. While we're waiting for the video to start, are we ready, Jimmy? Are we ready to go? I think he raised his thumb there. So we're going to cross over to the video. This is wonderful.
Hi, I'm Lisa Lawson. I'm Grace Lawson. And today we're going to be baking challah. So we have assembled all of our ingredients. First, we have 1.5 tablespoons of active dry yeast. We have a 1/2 cup plus a tablespoon of sugar. Some people use honey, but we're going to use sugar. We have 1 3/4 cups of warm water. We have a tablespoon of salt. We have 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. We have 4 eggs, and we'll need another egg for an egg wash later. We have 8 to 8.5 cups of flour. This is all-purpose flour. It only usually spread flour, whatever you prefer. And we have some coffee. Optional, yeah. Some people have other ingredients that they add to challah. Some people will add more sweetener, like grape juice or orange juice or wine, or some people add chocolate chips. Put some juice on top, but we're pretty traditional. Okay, so here we go. Would you like to add the yeast? Okay, and then a tablespoon of the sugar. Okay, and then the warm water. All of it, yeah. Okay, now you can start eating. And I'm going to take this whisk and whisk this up. And I want to have all the yeast dissolved. So this can take a while. Oh, really? Yeah, that's fine. No, it's okay. We'll be able to fix that out. So now we're ready to start adding our flour. And Grace, if you want to add about half of it. And this is where I'm going to switch to a spoon rather than a whisk because it's really hard. Oh yeah, please. To clean the whisk of the dough. And we are making 2 challahs today. That's pretty traditional to make 2 challahs. Do you know why, Grace?
I think it's because that you got, God gave people, like, 2 times mana on Friday nights, so then they could have that share on Saturday.
Exactly, that is exactly.
So they could all rest.
Yes, so that's when the Jews were wandering in Egypt in the desert for 40 years, and they would collect manna every day. They would get a double portion on Friday so that they couldn't have it. So that looks good. So this is where we kind of eyeball it, and I'm gonna add some more flour. You can add up to 8 or 8.5 cups of flour. I often find, I don't know, our humidity conditions, our altitude, that I'm at them maybe just barely 8 or sometimes less. There's some personal taste preference. I like a lighter, fluffier bread. Some people like a more dense bread. What's your preference?
I like it. I like the light and fluffy. What bread do you want?
Oh, sure. So this is definitely looking like we're going to be adding some more flour. it's easier to do it a little at a time.
He said you can really gauge how much flour you want, like.
Exactly. If you add too much flour, you can add more water, but I find it gets harder to incorporate, so I try to just go slow with the flour. So could you add a little bit more? You can also do this with a dough hook. We don't like to do that at home, do we?
Yeah.
Because then we don't get to knead. It's nice to feel kneaded. So at this point, it starts to get pretty difficult to stir, and this is where I like to put some flour on my hand and just switch my thumb. You're not making pizza. Just oiling it so that the dough doesn't stick to the bowl. And then we'll put it here, and I like to just fill it up a little bit. The important thing is we don't want our dough to dry out. So I have that, and then what I'm going to do is get some plastic wrap with a little oil underneath. At home we use a damp towel. Put it on top so that it'll stay moist while it's rising. And we're going to leave it to rise about an hour until it is about double its size. Okay, so we have been doing other things, and our dough has risen, and now it's time to punch it down. And that's normally a really fun thing to do. You can. Yeah, it's really deflating. I'm not sure how technical to get about this, but bread has a structure that is formed by the proteins in the flour and, in our case, the eggs linking up, and then air from the yeast growing. And so what we want in our challah is a nice fluffy challah, not too fluffy, but not too hard, just in the middle. And so when we let it rise, there's a lot of air, we punch it down to kind of squish things back, let it rise one more time before we start to grate it. And that seems like it gives the best texture when the challah is done. So now our dough has risen for the second time, and we're ready to start shaping our challah. This is enough for one challah. So what we're going to do first is separate this into, could you please? Thank you. So we're doing this to make it easier to get our dough off so it won't stick on us. So I'm just going to look at this and estimate. There are tools that you can use. I think one name is called bench scrapers, and you can cut the dough really easily. So this one looks, yes, that's a little, and can you, my hands are sticky, Grace, can you put a little okay, we do not. So what we're gonna do now is roll these into strands. And we can do that in the air like Grace is doing, or on the surface, our countertop here. And it's really personal preference how long to make them. What do you think, Grace? Do we make a long hollow say or a shorter hollow? I mean, I kind of would like short and stuff. I'm sorry. Okay. So ideally, with our strands, if we have them a little bit tapered on the ends, that's helpful. It just makes the hollows look nicer, but at this point, our dough is really elastic, so it tends to spring back on itself, and if that happens, we can just put it down, let it rest for a few minutes, and then it should be easier to press it down. Yeah. Oh no, I'm good. So we are making a 3-strand challah. Grace, do you want to talk about larger strand challahs and our experience with those?
So larger strand challahs, you can do 4, 5, 6, and maybe more. But we just do a 3-strand because at home we practice 4-10, and it did not go so well.
Yeah, they tasted great, but the look wasn't completely ready yet. So we're still working on that. I have a lot of work. This one, I was rolling that while talking. It was a little bit longer, but I think that we are good. What do you think, Grace? I think good. Okay. So you're going to braid this one. Do you want to braid it sideways or you want to turn it? What's going to be easier? Okay. So you do that and I'll get the pin. Okay.
What are you saying, Greg? No, tell me what you were saying.
So what I have over here is a pan with parchment paper, and once the challah is braided, we'll put it on here.
You guys made it look so easy. It's like, what? It's not that easy when
And Grace, while you're doing that, I have an egg wash over here, which what I have is 1 egg with a little water, and I mix that up. Some people just use water, some use egg white, some use whole egg. It really just depends on how shiny you would like your challah. I feel like a whole egg with a little water to dilute it is a nice middle ground. That's very pretty. Okay, would you like to transfer it onto here?
I like to tuck in the edges so it looks a little bit sweeter, but you don't have to.
Oh, that's lovely. Okay, so we have here, let's turn this around, a pastry brush, and would you like to brush our challah? And when you do this, you really want to have a light touch, not rush the process, because if you do, sometimes you get some pools of egg, and that's not what you want. Okay, great. And Grace, what do you think? Poppy seeds or no poppy seeds? Okay. So here you go, and I will let you start. So that person gets down.
remember doing all these things? Does it feel strange to sit there and go, I did that?
It's funny because I don't.
It's all a blur.
Kind of like I don't remember that many
I think that's beautiful. There's
Oh,
techniques that people have where they'll
Like,
put their finger into the egg wash and then the poppy seeds and transfer them little by little. We don't tend to do that because why don't we do that? No, I mean, I wasn't suggesting that I was a rhetorical question. Why don't we do that? Because it's not our habit.
Yeah.
But now we're good. We're good. So what we're gonna do now is spray a little oil on some plastic wrap, put it on so it doesn't dry out, and give it another hour or so to dry.
what does Sarah say?
It's a slight smile. No,
And so what did Sarah say?
slight smile.
We don't actually have to spray it if we can just tend to.
This next scene is so cute. I can't believe I let you wear that thing.
Now our challah has been rising for about an hour, and it is time to get ready to put it into the oven. So I'm going to just carefully peel off the plastic. I don't want to pull up the challah. Reese, would you like to get the egg wash and put on another very light layer of egg wash that will make it homogeneous? And I think we're going to let these cool off for a few minutes, and then we can slice them up and serve them. Looking at the challahs, obviously this is our poppy seed and our chocolate chip, which is in the oven a little too long, so personal preference. How do you like your color on your challah?
I like it kind of golden.
Yeah, I do too, but they're both going to be delicious. And thanks so much for baking challah with me. And thank you, Ginny and Nisha and everyone who is watching. Thank you. Bye.
Such a cute scene.
kind of untraditional, and so we don't usually have it. As she says, a lot of things are good together. Chocolate chips are great, Challah's great. They're just not good together. So yeah. So you want to put it on here, give it an egg wash, and we'll give that another hour or so as well. Should I do that? Well, I mean, now that I think about it, probably not, but I think my name is Gary.
That is your decision. You know how I feel about coffee.
Me and Gary don't have a good relationship either.
We'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. Does anybody have any questions? Please chirp up and let us know. Does anybody have any questions that you'd like to ask our stars here? Well, I hope that you enjoyed it and you'll join us next time. This particular video, we will be doing a special week on Shabbat and about things that you do in Shabbat. So we will be showing it again sometime this spring for that special event. I hope you join us then. Thank you. Shall we say goodbye?
Thank you. Can I say
Please do.
special thank you to you, Misha?
Wait a minute.
Sorry. Thanks. I want to say a special thank you to you, Nisha, and to Jimmy behind the scenes for putting all that together, to Grace for doing that, and to all of my family and friends and synagogue members for joining in. I really appreciate it. And have, I'm just looking at the screen, a lot of family here from all over the place who joined very last minute. So thank you so much. You were all the best, and I so appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you.